You guys ready?
Ready.
One, two, 3, 4.
Shoulders.
I gotta remember not to dance.
You're listening to another Woodshop podcast, the okayest podcast of its type. Your hosts are Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks and Peter Kapar of Petree's Workshop. You can find them as well as the podcast on your favorite social media platforms.
Welcome to episode 185 of another Woodshop podcast, where this week we're joined by the queen of the hustle in the maker community. She's not only an artist, a maker, and a woodworker, but she's also an established podcaster that's going to show us how to finally do it right. And not to mention, she's the person behind some of your favorite brands in the maker space. She rarely comes out during the day, but if you catch her at night, she's probably carving. Tiff Marchand from Night Carver Designs, also known as Tiffany Buto.
Ooh, you got it right too.
What's up, Tiff?
You know, just hanging out, having fun.
Yeah, what's your name?
Full transparency. We did bring you on just so you could show us how to actually do a podcast.
Yeah, how does this? When does this make money? Like, when do we?
I'm still figuring that out. You know, slowly getting
God.
there. Slowly getting there. You know,
It's the hustle.
you know. It is hard to ask for money for a podcast, though. Like,
Money,
that's my
please.
problem. No, seriously. Like, and I've gotten more and more comfortable just saying, like, send a gift, though no one has yet, but one day they will. And just send some money if you want.
It's also really hard for us to ask for money. So anyways, our patrons, Dan.
Yeah, let's talk about our patrons and asking for money. Money, please.
So we can keep the lights on.
The patrons, we say this almost every week, but the patrons literally keep the lights on. And I added a new light to my repertoire. So
Literally adding lights every week.
So thank you, patrons. We didn't get any new patrons this week, which is fine, I guess. But we do want to shout out all of the VIP patrons, as we always do. And in no particular order, they are Justin from Fraser Canyon Woodworks, Jesse McIntyre from Sage Hill Woodcraft, Gillette Woodworks, Victor Aragama, Nick Brim Woodworking, Matt Maynard of Patriotic Pines, Bill Burkle from WTB Woodworking, Malcolm at Bossa Nova Woodworks, Justin at Cavalry Customs, Patrick Ginsel, Michael Flickinger, Scott Shirk from Red Leg Custom Woodworks, Max and Mindy Coons of Stubby K Studio, and Jacob Miller from A Sweet Shop. Thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to all of our patrons. If you want to join the Meh Army, as we lovingly call it, you can go over to patreon.com/anotherwoodshop podcast and get joined up over there. Nothing is expected, but if you could help us out, that would be very much appreciated.
We're like the Santa, the Salvation Army Santa. Like, every little bit helps. And some of it is going to go to alcohol.
And a lot of people are annoyed by us. Oh, why don't you go away?
Out of my way.
Here's a nickel. Shut up.
That is a very sexy crowd of people right there. And speaking of sexy crowds, I do want to mention our sponsor this week, who our guest is loosely associated with.
Slightly.
It's Workbench Con, where we get to see the sexiest of crowds in that awesome lobby in Atlanta. So
and it's coming up fast.
It's
super
like
fast.
Less than 2 months. And not only that, today we're giving away the ticket. We're gonna actually give it away because we're recording this a little out of order.
Now you tell me?
Yeah, you got to pick a guy or gal or whatever. You know, so pick somebody.
Pick a lizard, and you can't.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna pick the person during the pre-show, which this week is the post-show. So we're actually recording out of order, and we're gonna pick them live.
You wouldn't have known that if you wouldn't have told them.
Well, it doesn't matter. We're going to pick it live. So everyone in the pre-show is going to be all excited.
It's all about being transparent, Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
Oh, right.
But we are so excited to have
more translucent.
One extra person at Workbench Con. It's going to be a hell of an event. We love going there every year. You really get a lot out of it. You know, we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. We're really going to lead into it this week, as Tiff is one of the people behind Workbench
Con.
Man, high five.
Question.
Yes,
on
Dan.
the website, it says Workbench Con is starting on February 29th. That's a fake day. There's only 28 days in February.
Actually,
Are
I
you
think
trying
it
to
says
pull the wool
28th
over my
on
eyes?
the website, to be honest, which I actually have to tell Kristen about that. But yeah, 29th.
It's a leap year.
It
man.
is a leap year. Special.
That's a joke we made last year too.
So are you telling me that the next Workbench Con is going to be 4 years from now?
Well, this year's Workbench Con is 1 day longer. You're welcome. Yes, that's right.
I mean, it really
right,
kind of
Pete
is,
likes
though,
to make up
because
stuff on that spot.
people though show up like 2 days
we
early
make it longer.
lately.
Yes,
it's getting
we do.
crazy. It's so funny.
Year one, Dan stayed till Monday and was like, "I'm bored out of my mind. There's no one here."
I did. What that was 2
years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was
When
the
you're
first
planning
Remember how I was
flights,
talking
it's
about I
tough.
joke on the podcast? Just about happened.
Don't
Yeah, one
die.
year I booked my hotel until Monday morning, and I forgot that Workbench Con stops on a Saturday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
I
it
just
stops on
stayed in
Sunday.
I
That's
stayed
when
in
you
my
say
room all
goodbyes.
day Sunday in my underwear and ordered Taco Bell through DoorDash. It was great.
Didn't they deliver it to the front
They
of the
delivered
hotel?
it on the curb. Yeah, it was awesome.
Took a photo. But anyways, aside from the
That's
blunders
funny.
that Dan has made, it's one of the most fun events. If you go in with, like we said last week, with the right questions, right attitude, you can take away so much knowledge from this event. You can learn so much, and not just from the classes, which there's a whole plethora of. Every single day, there's 4 different time slots, right? Or three time slots.
3 different time slots. There's
3
usually
time
like
slots.
4 to 5 classes going all at once.
Yeah, it's great. And you not only that, but the conversations you have inside the main hall, inside the lobby, just hanging out with everyone, you get to pick people's brains one-on-one, and it's incredible. And just getting a lot of the information from these colleagues of ours, like these other makers that are crushing in this community, you get to see them on the same level that we're all at. And it's really exciting to like almost like humanize your heroes and see like, wow, they can do it. I can do it. It's not like this some grandiose, crazy thing like Brad or whoever, like they're just doing it them. It's just one person or just 2 people. So they really show you how to get all this done. You can learn a ton. It's a ton of fun. And Tiff's going to talk more a little bit later about it. We're going to have like a whole little Workbench Con segment of why it's worth it.
I mean, that's the biggest question.
Yeah.
Why should I go?
I should go because it's fun.
Or
My
should
guy.
I go? I think is probably the biggest one. Like,
Oh, right.
you know
Should
what I
I go?
mean? Should
Yeah.
I? Should I? I think it's important though, like making those choices. But we'll get into that when you guys want to get into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah,
the
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
if
yeah,
I had
yeah.
unlimited vacation time and like funds to burn, I'd go to every event.
Oh yeah.
Like the ones in Texas, the Texas.
The ones I
Woodworking
don't get
shows, whatever.
invited to, just show
Yeah,
up.
I just show up like, hi Sedge. I know I'm just here to watch.
I was actually
ones
thinking
I
of
have
the
FOMO
women's
through the
one that they
screen.
just had. I'm
Yeah.
like, I just want to go hang out with the ladies after they finish building that.
I'm going to be
tower.
honest. I wanted to go to that woman's.
Yeah, me too.
I could have put on a wig.
I just wanted to
got a
host
little-
it and interview them while they were building. I was like, that would be so fun.
That would have
That
been
was
fun.
fun.
Well, next year you gotta just
I know.
get your way in
You
there.
hear that? You hear that, guys?
Let's do it
See
all
that, Rubio?
men's. Pete,
Yeah. All men's get together.
I think that would
Would
go
that-
over well.
Yeah,
I don't think it would.
That will not have any backlash, Dan.
we
Not
get
at all.
we get canceled. It'd be great.
Well, speaking of great things, Tiff, we have you on here for a
Yes.
reason. So please tell us, who the hell do you think you are?
Amazing. That's
Oh.
what I'm going to start with. No.
Humble?
Humble
Most
as
humble?
fuck. You can swear here, right? This
Sure,
is
why
the
not?
adult zone. Okay. I just want to make sure. Can we go explicit? No. I am a awesome mom of 2 who is just out here trying to live a very unusual life and trying to follow this crazy content creation journey. I recently quit my job last year. Well, 2 years ago almost now. Look at that. And I'm just trying to survive this without it because that job was driving me nuts. So it's kind of me in the shell. I'm an artist. And honestly, I would love to spend the whole day painting, but that doesn't pay the bills. So I manage a lot of different accounts and really heavy into the maker world. So as you guys mentioned too, I love to podcast as well. So I don't know. I like to talk.
Nice.
How
That's
does
great
that
because
look?
that works out well here.
It does.
We also like to talk.
Good.
But
Yeah.
this is the first time ever we've actually had a time constraint because we're like, oh, we got a live in 2 hours. We got to get going on that.
Pressure.
Well, that's awesome. So, I mean, Tiff, I love your content. I love who you are. We met you a couple years ago. I think actually the first time we met was at Workbench Con. Or maybe
In person. Yeah. In
Maker
person,
Camp,
I think.
possibly. Were you there that first year of COVID at Maker Camp? Were you there?
Yes.
Yeah,
I-
so we,
I-
we may
yeah,
have
I
like
think
loosely
so.
met then,
I've seen Tiff at Maker Camp just about every year we've been there, I think.
I've
yeah,
3
so I think it was the
times.
first. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. So when we met that first Workbench Con 2 years ago, I was like, whoa, like she's a hustler. She's killing it. I think you're planning to go full time. There was some talk of you like maybe working more with Kristen with Workbench Con at the time, and you're the reason why my wife Emma works with the business now, because we
That's
saw what
awesome.
you were doing and we're like, whoa, like this can be done. Like she's hustling, she's like helping out other makers, other brands, she's getting into all these different spaces. Like you can do that and like support a family. Like, we think 9 to 5, you got to do the thing. And I still do it, but like we're able to like retire Emma, have her come on and help with the business, run her own business. And you're a huge inspiration for that. So I do want to thank you for
That's
that.
awesome.
Aw.
No, I know I was bullshitting with who I am and stuff, but that just melts my heart though. Seriously.
It's so
Listen,
great.
I am paycheck to paycheck, just so everyone knows, and
Preach.
struggling. I'm not making money.
I think
money
most of us are.
yet. We're gonna
Lie.
keep with
This
that
is a
yet.
podcast. Lie.
The power of yet. My kids talk about this at school all the time. I love it.
Power of yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like so empowering for them. It's like you don't know how to do this yet.
Yet.
So right now I am paycheck to paycheck, but honestly, I'm feeling good about this year. This year is very scary though, because I'm trying to do the thing I quit my job for that I don't really talk about, but it happens to, as we were saying, my kids are on the spectrum and I'm working on something for people who are on the spectrum to help make their lives a little easier.
That's
So
great.
that's the reason I quit my job originally, but then I needed to pay the bills. So I had to find a way to support my family while I went on that journey, while I learned how to use this laser behind me. So, which I'm not a huge laser person. I know that's going to hurt Pete.
Amen.
Why? I never.
I'm so sorry. I think I need like a real basic one. I just, the CO2 laser, there's just so many little things that can make it not work perfect that I just don't like.
Oh,
I'm also
God.
not a machine person. So
You
it's
are
a tough
machine.
one.
You're a
I'm
carver,
a machine. I like to do
not a
everything
CNCer.
manually. Yeah, I mean, I do CNC. I'm a CNC fan. Laser though, it's all right. Once I get it down, one day, my product is a laser product.
So you
So
got
I
to
have
figure it
to.
out or
Yes.
outsource it.
I'm gonna outsource.
I know
I've
a guy.
decided. Hey,
Hey,
okay,
hey.
we'll talk later.
If you
So-
don't mind,
oh,
I
yeah.
want. Oh, I'm gonna
Oh no, please
push
jump
my
in.
way in here.
Oh,
Go
If you
for
don't
it.
mind, I'd like to take a step back and talk about how you got involved with Workbench Con.
Yeah.
Could you like give us the loosey goosey breakdown of what happened there and how you got involved?
I suffer greatly from imposter syndrome. So
welcome
to go to
the family.
Workbench Con, it was very intimidating, but I really, really wanted to go. I wanted to be part of that crowd. I had the podcast going, Behind the Maker podcast, and I'm like, there's my in. I'm a podcaster. Now I know there's a million of us, right, that all want to go to
Yes.
Workbench Con for free because we have a maker podcast. That's the dream. Hey, look, guys, we did it. Good job.
Yeah.
It's not for free.
But you have to work. No, you have to
Bartering.
work.
Yeah.
It is.
There's
It's a
a
barter. And that's
exchange
the
of
thing.
goods.
So, how I got in the door is because I'm very much like Peter's wife, where I'm going to write a very long, well-written email outlining all the gaps that I could fill, what my plan is going to be, and how I could help bring Workbench Con to that next level. And I kind of attacked the one thing they were doing really, really badly. And I say they, it's only one person who runs Workbench Con. So she was doing it all by herself, but she wasn't posting. So Kristen wasn't posting on their website or like on their Facebook and Instagram. And it was just dormant. And it was 2 weeks away. By the time I finally got in the door and I got the yes, just so you guys know, it was like that close to the wire. But I
Wow.
started off in like November, like pitching her. And she was like, oh, this sounds interesting. We met like once, pitched again. And then I finally got the green light of the yes. And I asked her, because we were so close, can I take over the account now rather than doing an Instagram takeover? Because that was my pitch. I was going to do an Instagram takeover. I was going to be there going live all the time, doing interviews, filming behind the scenes things, and really just bringing the makers into the world, creating that FOMO. If you didn't go this year, I'm going to get you to go next year because you're going to see how amazing this experience is. And the fact that I am a maker, I've been one since I was a child, like, you know, I'd bring that. So that gave me that empowerment to think like, okay, I do belong here. So that's kind of how I got in the door. I started working the account 2 weeks early. I did the whole account like while we were there, the takeover. And then I was like, Kristen, there's just so much activity. People keep posting. I'm like, and you're going to miss all of these travel home stories, all these cool recaps that are happening right now. Like, we need to be sharing these.
Yes.
This has to be known that people had such an amazing time that they can't stop talking about it, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me just work the account for one more week. And then then I was like, let's have a meeting after that week and let's chat. So that's what we ended up doing. And then she brought me on the team, and I've just kind of been cementing myself with so many different aspects in Workbench Con now that it's really pretty cool. I've always loved event planning. So like to have that as part of something that I do now, it's really fun because it is an event and it's all makers, it's education, which I love that this community is really open about sharing things. So to help put the people in place that I think that are going to really help the community out is really cool.
That's awesome.
That's how I got
So
in the
glad you
door.
got
Just I
involved with
kept
it.
pushing.
It's called
and
attrition.
you came with a plan as well.
Yes, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Very nice.
And I worked
I
for
like it.
free for that week, you know, or actually those 3 weeks I worked for free. And
Just
then
to
I
prove
said,
that you were a valuable asset.
exactly. Yeah. Like, let me just do this. Like, and then I'm like, then we'll talk about pay afterwards. Like, she paid us to do to Workbench, you know, but like afterwards it was like, I'm just going to work for free. I'm just going to show you the value I can bring. And then let's talk money later. Like, and
That's a
we
great
did a
approach.
pre-sale. The pre-sale went amazing. Like, there was like, all right, let's do this, you know? So, and then here we are.
Yes.
Because you
I
guys
love it.
usually drop the pre-sale like the week after.
Yeah,
right?
that was my idea. Like, let's just get them now while they're still in it.
While
Can't change their
everybody's
mind.
still like raging
I'm from a
in their
marketing and
FOMO.
advertising background. You know, you got to jump in while the iron's hot.
Right. I like it.
Just riding.
Yeah,
that high.
FOMO is usually pretty heavy that following week. Like, oh man, that all looks so great. I want to be there next year. Smart.
Mhm. And then you drop the price so low that you can't like resist. It's like, oh
Yeah. That was like, oh man, we got it.
$400. I know they're going to be almost $700. So like, it's like,
Wait,
Right.
Like me and Dan were thinking about doing like we were gonna get tickets right away, and they were like, no, like we're either gonna teach a class or we're gonna figure out a way to provide value. Like let's figure it out. Let's like we're big old boys now. We need to like figure this out. How we can like we're
Big in
gonna
size.
do something because
Not-
we were gonna do like we're talking about doing an Etsy class or some kind of like
which you
small-scale
definitely should next year. That'd be cool.
Perhaps.
Well, I mean,
Pete and I always talk about like we don't like to go to these events with
And
homework.
work. Yeah, I get it. That's the thing. That's
so nice to go
most
at
people's things is they don't want to like have that pressure to like while they're there because they just want to enjoy it, which I get.
I would love to teach an online shop or Etsy class or whatever, but yeah, I
We
just
do pre-Zoom classes, Dan.
I don't know.
You have to get them to be like that was
Can
one
I
thing
get
we were
Chat
trying to-
GPT to write my whole curriculum?
They can help.
just an AI.
My
Dan.
wife's a teacher. She could probably do it.
Honey, help.
I got my wife to help.
This true?
Mm.
It only took asking 1,000 times.
Maybe 2025, Dan will teach an Etsy class.
Well, so I'm going to talk. I want to jump in here because we kind of talked about the following week, Workbench Con, and we'll
Yeah.
backtrack back to Workbench Con. But the
Yeah.
week after, that FOMO, that excitement, that energy, I cannot recommend enough. Whatever you're planning up until Workbench Con, allocate the next
Time
week
after.
after to be no projects.
Mhm.
And I mean that because you're going to come back on fire.
I wish I could.
You're going to want to, like, if you can, obviously.
I'm going to
if you're
come back
listening-
buried. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, because that's the problem. Like, most of us come back and we're like, gotta get caught up on orders, gotta do this, gotta do that. Like, if you can come back with free time to then engage on the impulses you have and the things you've learned and actually research some of it, you're gonna get ahead so much further. Because like the first week I was like super basic, like, yeah, I still got the thing, I got my notes, and then by like week 2 or 3 I was like, where was I last month? Like you lose that energy. So you want to, if you have any ability to schedule some time for yourself afterwards, highly recommend it because you are going to do amazing things with that energy.
I think that's a great tip though. Like you're going to be hungover, not just from if you drink or not drink, just
Knowledge hangovers.
yeah, no, I don't drink. I was so hungover, like so hungover. And then you lose your voice because
I
all
don't-
you were doing was chatting the entire time. So
I don't think any drinking happens there. I don't
No.
know.
No.
I've never seen any
A
drinking.
lot of chamomile tea.
Chamomile
Early to bed.
I can't wait. It's gonna be so fun.
We have such a good time. But
it's gonna be a blast.
we'll get back to Workbench Con. I want to hear about some of the other stuff that Tiff is doing, because you're the main star of the show, and like you're
Sometimes you're just Tiff.
It's true.
Yes, it's not Shaper Sean.
I've gotten a really nice compliment at Maker Camp. I gotta say, somebody said that to me, that like, I know you represent two different brands and then yourself, and like you haven't lost yourself in the mix. And they're like applauding me. They're like, I don't know how you haven't yet.
Very easy to do.
But yeah. Oh,
we've had other makers that are the brand.
I'm a workaholic.
They're the face.
Yeah. It's hard for me not to be that. Like, I've
So
been
what other
having
brands
to-
are you representing? Like who else are you?
So I represent Sabretooth as well. And then I have a couple other irons in the fire that I might represent as well. Because again, I want to make sure I can support my family. But that's the problem. I keep getting distracted by other jobs and not
Diversify.
focusing on me as much. But I am to the heart, I'm an artist. Like that's what I want to be the most. I would just love to just paint all day and not represent all the brands. But again, until I can get to that point, I'm having a great time representing the brands. But I love making pop culture and horror themed art. I love using the CNC. I'm gonna one day love using the laser. But I get the most joy if I'm painting or if I'm power carving. Like the CNC was only purchased because I used to hand router signs and my back and my neck would be killing me. Plus I had babies at the time too when I was doing it. Like my kids were like 1 year old and I'm out there power carving at night, you know, going back in the house.
Oh,
and
night
taking care of
carver. I
them.
get it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm so clever with my name. But seriously, I'd be carving outside at night and like with the baby monitor. I saw somebody the other day, it's like, you know, I'm a dad and he had like the baby monitor on his headphones. And I'm like, that was me. I used to have the monitor in the corner while the kids were sleeping. I'd run outside and woodwork, run in the house, shower quickly. And then I'd have, they were both like had colic and stuff like that. So they ended up sleeping on me all night. So I was hurting. My whole body was sore from like, you know, day job sitting in a desk chair, carving at night with kids all night on me. It was madness. So that's what brought the CNC. Like my dad actually forced me. He's like, just go buy a CNC. Just do it. I'm like, all right. Dad. I know, but it's like, it's those things like I told you earlier, my fear of the laser is just, I'm not a person who likes to tinker with things. I don't enjoy taking things apart and putting them back together. So bringing machines in, I'm like,
it's a learning curve too.
I can relate to
I'm
that.
a designer. I went to school for fine art and graphic design. Like that's what I have my degree in. So like my biggest tools, I mean, I love power tools. Like I grew up using scroll saws and drills and all that fun stuff, but you know, machines. But I gotta say the Onefinity, we'll give them a shout out. They're awesome. I've worked with them and they actually gave me my CNC because I hated my X carve so much. So that was one of the
we
things.
like Onefinity here.
They're awesome. Yeah, I made some content for them and stuff, and they've been so supportive. And I love working with them too. So whenever I can, I try to do a collab with them. Whenever, like we did one at Maker Camp with them recently, which was a ton of fun.
Oh yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys were there when I got my.
I was in the
That's
video.
Right,
I was
cheering.
real clapping.
Yes.
Real clapping.
That was legit cheering.
My face was so red in that video, it had me dying because I had just finished like full mask on with carving out in a muddy field, and then we're all like, "Woo!"
Oh, Dan, that's the definition of the crowd goes mild. Because you were confused.
Oh no! I went full out with cheering. I don't know. Go back and watch that video. I can't remember who posted it.
It was hilarious. I think it was Morgan.
I gave it my all.
Yeah, we're shaking babies, kissing hands. Yeah, we're very excited.
You're out there in the community doing good.
Trying.
Yeah. Doing the Lord's work, fake clapping. I mean, it wasn't fake clapping. It was an actual like, yeah, because you got the thing.
It was great.
No, I think we were just walking by and they're like, hey, we need you to just cheer.
It was like the comedy shows in New York. Where they're like, you want to see a comedy show? We need bodies.
Yes. It was fun though.
2-drink minimum at Onefinity too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I honestly want to make more sculptures. This year, I spent so much time doing Sabretooth power carving challenges. and I was supposed to do something crazy to motivate others to join in, which I think sometimes scared people from joining in because they saw what I was making and they're like, I'm not going to carve a 3-foot tall doll. Like, what the hell?
Cowards.
Is that the
The
picture
bride
that,
of Chucky.
yeah, the picture that Pete used to promote on our Instagram page? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I made a Mario Brothers themed like piranha plant this year.
Mhm.
Yes, I saw that. That was awesome.
I
A
made
bunch of those like poles.
The tiki poles.
tiki
Yeah,
poles,
that's kind of
yeah.
what really kicked off me wanting to go 3-dimensional because I started with some more relief carving. And then I made the big donut that I just finished up, and then the Beetlejuice carving. So I really I made, I'd say, good 4 3-dimensional carvings this year. So I would love to dip in there and experiment with that more. Do you guys know Blake from BM Sculptures?
Yeah.
He does some beautiful things. His epoxy carvings.
He was on. I don't know if you ever watched it. Making it. With
That's
Amy
where I saw
Poehler
him
and
first.
Nick Offerman.
Oh, the actual show, not the
Yeah.
podcast?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think I did.
He does some incredible stuff, and he's like, he went
that
from like,
the-
yeah, he was on a show, he does his own carving. He's like,
Is that
in the maker
is that the
community
guy
now.
that did the bowl carving of the felt house weave? No?
No,
No. Okay.
he did was it like a lion or something?
There
It
was a
like
whale
wood
that he
and
did at
epoxy.
Workbench Con that he actually brought. Like, it was there. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Dan, you
I
met
don't-
him.
My memory
Super
is
tall,
terrible.
real handsome, like 12 out of 10. Would date again. Yeah.
I
he's a
probably
super
did.
cool guy.
Ex-baseball player, yeah.
Ex-baseball player. That's right. He was an athlete.
I
That's why you
interviewed
That
know
him.
actually
I'm
rings
like,
a
I've interviewed
bell.
him once. I can give you him stats.
Ex-baseball player. That rings
know.
a bell.
Does that help you out?
He's,
Yeah.
He's
I know,
also
I'm not
like,
seeing a face, but I remember that for some reason.
I give him credit because he actually did something recently. I'm going to jump into maker news. It's not
There
even
we
recently.
go.
It's in the last 6 months because he figured out how to use like a small fridge to cure like a foot of epoxy, because epoxy gets really hot as it cures. He figured out how to use a fridge to actually cure like large sections of it at the same time, and then he would carve them out afterwards. So he's getting no layer lines. He's doing just straight clean
Deep
pores.
pores, yeah.
It's insane. And he did have an accident where he opened it up and like was like burning
burnt his
stuff.
eyebrows and
Burned his
hair.
eyebrows and
goodness.
face off.
Uh-huh. Because he sprayed
What's-
foam inside it, and then he closed it too
What is
fast.
this guy's account's name?
BM Sculpture.
Sculptures.
BM Sculptures, huh?
Yeah, he did something that no one's ever done before. That's the thing. No one's ever poured epoxy that thick. Actually,
Oh, I follow him.
saw.
Yes, he did do
Yeah.
the bowl with the felt house weave.
Oh, that was
That's
him.
it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
I saw Evan and Caitlin when they do their yearly pumpkin in resin thing. They actually got the same fridge. They tried to do it, and he helped them out with
Oh
it.
yes, that thing was
one.
awesome.
Yes. Okay. That's
I
the
didn't know
felt
what
house weave.
I didn't know what the felt house weave was.
You said
I'll be honest.
bowl. I thought you said bowl. So I was assuming.
Bowl.
Is
Loney.
felt house weave a cutting board term?
It's a weave that was designed and created by the Instagram account Felt House Woodworks.
Johann von Feldhaus.
Oh, okay.
It's just a really cool design.
He's
anyway.
become
Oh, it's
famous for
pretty.
like like real nice like plaid pattern, but made fully out of wood.
Nice.
That's cool.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I'll check it out.
I missed the.
We should
I
actually
missed the
we should
burning
have-
the
Why
eyebrows.
Why don't we
a
have
little
him on
more.
the podcast? We should have him on.
Here you go.
We should. We dedicated a whole segment to Blake.
Yeah.
Oh, why? Stop.
this weekend, Blake.
No, but it is. He's very talented. But yeah, so like he definitely inspired me to go 3-dimensional. Like I would pick his brain, like with the foam carving and things like that. So I might experiment with that a little bit more. Might play with a little bit more of epoxy. I don't want to carve like he does. Like he has to wear a full white suit and like
Oh my goodness.
that's intense. Like I don't want that.
A lot of
but
epoxy and
I'll pour some
dust
epoxy on
too.
top of it afterwards. But
Ugh.
yeah,
A lot of work.
it is.
So, do you would you ever like chainsaw carve or like go bigger?
So I recently emailed
Ooh.
still, and I'm trying to get a chainsaw so bad. And I
Boom.
might go after a few other ones. Yeah, I want that cannon bar with the dime bar. I'm ready. I've been studying it for years.
I
That's
don't
the
know what any
problem.
of those words mean, but it
I
sounds
know.
great.
The dime bar tip is
No
a
one knows what
small,
it means.
Tiny
but
little
it's
tip.
evocative. It gets the people going.
If you guys have ever seen those little tiny baby chainsaws with a tiny little bar, that's what I really want.
Okay. Yes, I
Because
have
that's
seen
the
those.
detail saw. Like that's where you
Oh,
can get
okay.
all the tiny little details.
They're
in.
specifically made for carving.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
by
I
a
had
brand
no
named
idea.
Canon. Believe me, I'm gonna try to email them next.
Really?
But first, I need the chainsaw.
Well,
You're
I've
not
gotten
talking about the little
emails-
chainsaws you can attach to like a drill
no.
that you
No,
get
no, no,
on
no, no, no.
Temu.
No, it's a real
right?
chainsaw. Yeah, no, not that.
That's the thing. I've gotten emails about like, oh, try, hi, hello, dear, try our product and make whatever, and it's just like some random off-brand battery-powered like mini chainsaw that's handheld.
That
Yeah,
just
don't do
looks
it.
You
sketchy.
can barely
AF.
cut through a branch.
I think Brad Rodriguez showed one of those before, and
Yeah, he
like,
did.
looks
in
real
one of
safe.
his videos.
Yeah,
It doesn't look good.
No,
It doesn't look
Oh,
good.
that's cool. I cannot
Do not
wait
recommend.
to see
I
you
would. I
carve
don't have
stuff.
the space, but I would love to.
Was there a?
Damn it, you make the space.
I
Yeah,
do. I
you
have a
make
whole
the
acre of land. I mean, I can.
What's the
make
thing?
it,
You have the
figure it out.
property.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
weird
I got plenty
flex,
of
but-
land. Yeah.
You need like a lean-to, like instead
That's
of a
what I want.
blacksmithing shop. Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
Well, you
I
got
mean, I
all
don't
that
want a
space.
blacksmithing
Might as
shop,
well make
but
a lean 3
I
or
wanna-
maybe a lean 4.
The
Lean-to.
dream is to build out a nice shop in the backyard and then put a nice lean-to in the other, because like that way I have a place to go carve out there, chainsaw carve, and just like,
Mhm.
Avoid the heat with a nice shade. It's beautiful. So
Sounds great.
Oh, that
yeah,
sounds
that's the
nice.
dream.
Yeah, you got a nice bit of property there. I remember you were doing some like landscaping about a year ago or so.
So much landscaping. It never ends.
'Cause
I
you're
bought
on the
house
water
14
too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm in the middle of at
Living
the
the
edge of the
dream.
city. I'm in one of the world's deadliest cities. So I don't know if it's the dream, but
You're in Camden, New Jersey.
it's right. Springfield.
Gary, Indiana.
Okay, it's not that bad, I guess. No, I'm in Massachusetts, but no, I'm not in like the greatest city, but I'm on the edge and I have like this acre of land that goes out to a really nice pond, and it's just so peaceful. I like
Mm.
have this little
Oh,
tiny like it's
sounds
like one of those
amazing.
places like I'm like I could never move. If I move, I have to have a body of water to be looking at, because now I'm spoiled. Like for 14 years, I wake up to geese landing in the water.
Oh my God.
It's
Oh,
beautiful.
That actually sounds so nice.
It is.
Sounds
it's
amazing.
peaceful.
That's the thing. You can't
Make her
downsize
meet up
after
at
that.
Tiff's place.
I actually do want to
2025.
have one. Yes. In May. Let's do it.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'm on
I'm
board.
serious. In
that's
May.
my arm.
All right.
Perfect.
Actually, May is the perfect month for some kind of meetup because
Right?
especially
Late
up in-
May,
up
I
here
could
in
do late May.
Late
Northeast-
May. No, late May for
Late
real.
May. Because like
My wife's
there's
a teacher.
couple
My
things,
kids get out of school. It'd be perfect.
There's a couple things in the summer, but it's like it's real hot in July.
That's
and
I'm
August.
saying I'm not a heat person.
Yeah.
May is
and some of them
perfect.
are like they're in Austin or Texas. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to Texas in August.
Right.
It's way too hot.
No,
Well,
I
thank
actually
you.
really I gotta see if I don't think I need a permit, but like people can camp in the backyard. I don't
Wow,
care.
you-
Go for it,
Yeah.
because I think it'd be fun. I've been saying it for 2 years now, and my husband like fully supports it. So you heard
I
it
love it.
here. New England
All
makers
right.
make out.
All
Make
right,
out,
we're gonna have
not
to
make
we're gonna
out.
have to keep her hands to the fire here. I like this.
No,
idea.
it's gonna happen.
Much excite. I'm stoked for that.
It's gonna be hosted by another woodshop podcast.
Oh. Ew.
You guys have to do 2
Overestimate
lives. No,
Our influence.
just joking.
okay.
Overestimate our
We can't even get
influence.
ourselves to record like a live podcast wherever we go because we're just like no homework, no mics,
Yeah.
just hang out.
I did record 2 episodes at Workbench that time too.
Well-
So yeah, there was mics and everything involved.
What was the podcast that was recording nonstop at Workbench Con?
Oh, Tinker. They're coming back this year too.
I forget. I'm blanking on the name, and I feel
Yeah,
terrible.
it's Tinker something.
But
Tinker
like
Taylor Soldier.
The makers
they have
the
like
tavern.
nonstop recordings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing it again this year. They're going to be recording in the main
That's a lot of
ballroom
work.
this time.
Yeah,
gonna
I do
stop by.
like. You know what?
Just
What
stop
was-
by and hop on.
Would like put it in perspective for me for someone who like goes with like a semi commitment, like not a brand with a booth, because then you're kind of at that booth all the time.
Mhm.
Well, watching Dave 3D DIY Dave, and
Scanning
like he'd be
people?
walking around and he'd be like, "Oh, I gotta go. It's 2:00. I gotta go scan people," and he'd be there for a couple hours or whatever. It wasn't as bad as like the
I
first
gave him a
year or two at
schedule.
Maker Camp. Good. I'm glad you did that because otherwise he would just be
I
there
know,
all
my
day.
friends,
He's too nice to
listen.
say no.
I want to make sure that I learned. So it's important thing that you're saying right now for any makers listening though. If you are going to work events, like make sure that you do make a real schedule and you schedule in breaks. Like I have seen
Oh, I
too
love
many
that.
people do like what I was doing, power carving and stuff. And then they don't give them any kind of like stopping point because people are just going to keep coming and they're just going to keep
Right.
wanting like to learn, which is great. but you can't physically make it through the day without taking like
You need
a
breaks.
midday 2-hour break.
Yes.
And that's what I do. I'm like, I was real upfront with Sabretooth. I'm like, because they came this year and last year they didn't. So I was like straight up the only person in charge. You know,
All
and
right.
I was kind of dictate my thing, but this time they were
Keep this
there.
in mind.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I do an Etsy class in 2025, I'm going to need a 2-hour nap break.
You
in the middle
only
of the
have
class.
to teach one class, Dan. It's gonna be okay.
Just so you know.
Unless you want to just be an expert desk where all you gotta do is a lunch sesh. It's real informal.
How much does it cost to just set up one of those booths where we just put a banner up and walk away? No one has to be at it.
You know, it's funny. That is totally an option.
But wait, I'm gonna hijack the podcast for about 30 seconds because I was doing a story the other day about taking breaks after the holidays because some of you little whippersnappers didn't take a damn break over the holidays and you're all burnt out now. You look like you aged 3 years. So
Are you
for the
talking to me
love of
directly?
God, take the weekend. It's after Christmas. Relax a little bit. You don't like get some of you have families, whatever, it's been busy. Just relax. I know it's January. It's not holidays anymore. Just take a day. Some of you guys really look like you need it. No offense to anyone out there, but like take a break. Anyways, back to your regular schedule.
No, you're good. I took 2 days I didn't post. January 1st and 2nd.
I did
2
take
months
some
I haven't
time off.
posted.
I did take some time off. It hurt me in the long run, but dang it, I took some time
You
off.
need it.
Good for you.
Which is why I'm still trying to get out of my hole.
I was to say, because you have all these orders piling up, right? Yeah.
That's great.
That's the only problem. It's so different. Like, yeah.
I share my orders and my numbers with Pete on the regular, and he can verify that I am not making it
It
up.
brings a tear to my eye. Like I didn't have to say it this time. He was like, I might have to raise prices. I'm like, yes, please. I'm just tired of saying it because I don't want him to.
Just
like,
today, I
outprice
said
himself.
that to you.
Yeah, exactly. And like, here's the thing. I'm all for the hustle. I'm all for that, but I've become really big on mental health and not burning out because I personally burn out. Like I burned out on content over the holidays. Like I was so busy with orders.
Yeah.
I've done 2 reels in 2 months.
Good for you though. Like what pays you more, you know, anyways,
whatever.
too.
Like it's that was the focus of the season and it's hard to do everything. And I just didn't want to burn out. So guys, take care of yourselves. I love you all. And I want you guys to be around for a long time. And I want to see you at Workbench Con. See what I did there?
No, it's good points, honestly.
Ew.
I worked so hard this year with like hosting 4 contests, like 4 challenges. So that's 4 months that I was just dedicating to constant content for those things while working on a big project with a hard deadline. And that's on top of anything else going on in life. So you can easily burn out. So I think that's a great message to everybody.
And that's like schedule your time off. Like that's perfect. That's what made me think of it. Because you said like I scheduled as breaks. That's perfect. You should schedule breaks. You should be like, hey, after 3 p.m. on Sunday, I'm not allowed to work.
Yeah.
Like just relax, hang out with the family or play video games. Who cares? Take a nap.
I colored today.
You know what?
It was good times. Yeah, it was nice.
I have never enjoyed that.
Coloring? Oh,
My
kids are
wife and
snobs
daughter
now.
love that. They get the adult coloring books, and I'm like, oh, that sounds so tedious. I don't like it.
This broke my brain the other day. So I'm in Florida, and my brother-in-law has 2 kids. So he's got a 7-year-old, so they're 5, 7, whatever. He's somewhere young age, still a lot of energy, and then an infant. So like I was babysitting, changing diapers. Yeah, that was fun. He was like great. But the older one, he like would like, I want to color, whatever, Ant-Man. And my brother-in-law just went on his phone, just like coloring book, Ant-Man, and just printed the page. And I'm like, you can do that now. We have the technology.
I've been doing that for my kids for years.
I know, but
they were little.
like I don't have kids. I didn't know that. And I was just like, if I just want to like color Batman, I could just print it out. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I love this country.
I used to do that all the time with my kids when they were super little.
I hosted a pumpkin carving party here recently, and I invited some friends over with their kids. And I asked all the kids, what do you want to carve? And then my friends are like, are you really going to go print special templates for them right now? I'm like, why not? I'm like, give me 10 minutes. I'll be right back. You know?
Don't test me.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
like,
that.
oh no, I have to go downstairs and look up some cool stuff real quick. Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, so good. We kind of got off the track here, but
yeah, it happens.
So you covered your
It
brands.
happens here a lot.
You covered what you do. Is there anything else that you take on that's behind the scenes that you might want to talk about?
I'm trying to really get into YouTube. That's been a big
Girl.
focus. Yes.
Preach, girl.
So I have 2 videos that I'm working on editing. I just haven't had time because I've been constantly on the go with these things. So the Bride of Chucky, I did record everything so I could make a YouTube video for. And then I went extra hard on this donut and I actually talked to the camera and stuff through it.
Ooh,
Talking head, scandalous.
So I do have to edit those, but I want to, my focus for Night Carver is going to be, I'm going to be a YouTuber rather than an Instagrammer, because this year was all about getting the tools I needed for my shop. And the best way I know how to do that, to get them in exchange, barter, I'm not going to say the word free, is
Thank you.
to pitch them with a really good idea of how I could advertise their tool and get their tool out there. And they did really well. I did some for Craig. I did some for, I got Bora. But I worked with over 30 brands this year, like
That's
maybe
awesome.
even more than 30
Wow.
brands. Yes.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang,
I'm telling
killed it.
you, like,
That's more
it was
than
tough.
me and Dan combined.
my media
4
kit
times
looks
over.
ridiculous. I put all the logos on it. I'm like, this looks stupid. Like, it's like so many, but like, things are expensive in the maker world. And when you are a paycheck to paycheck person and you really want to grow your business, we have the power, if you have good engagement and you pitch things properly, to be able to get the things that we need for our shop. So now that my shop is, it's good. It's not, there might be something I go after. I'm really going to try to calm down on my brand work and really focus on YouTube this year and teaching. I'm power carving this weekend. I've got a sold out power carving class in Vermont. So I'm just going to be trying to like hop from makerspace to makerspace and teach. I feel like I need to concentrate more on local things, and instead of like just all over the place, so I'm trying to readjust my focus this
How'd
year.
you land that power carving class?
Shar actually introduced me to the people and to the concept. So she was there teaching Rosie's kids. It was a really cool thing that she was doing. And I'm like, okay, Shar's an hour away from me. I got to go see her. And that's Shar from the Wooden Maven, if you guys don't
she's
know.
awesome.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I
So
love Char.
I drove up there. We ended up like having this crazy dinner and chatting away. And she, of course, Tiff's an amazing power carver. You got to have her up here teaching classes. Like, talked me up. And, and then, but that doesn't, that wasn't the thing that got me there. So I followed up, like, I think that's one of the biggest things, if we're going to talk about working with brands. I know that's something that you guys were interested in talking about is the follow-up game, like getting your foot in the door, pitching a really good idea, and then continuously following up on things, because they're so busy. They've got a lot of people coming at them,
Right.
and you got to show that you're serious about that. So, I followed up. I did one class already. That went well. It didn't sell out. This one sold out really quickly. So that was great. And then I have it scheduled for once a month. So I know that's a little bit of income coming in for me. And there's a few other maker spaces I've been visiting and checking out as, another way to make some money and do something that I love. So
That's awesome. And
I'm trying.
I love having you on because you are like, people forget that there's a person on the other side of the conversation when you're like, hey, I'm a whatever, I have 100,000 followers, my audience would like to see your stuff, can I have a free blah blah blah, like, that's you got to provide some. We've talked about this for the last 4 years on here. Like, provide some value back. Be like, hey, I think my audience could benefit from this. I have a project that's coming up that's this. I think it'd be a great collaboration. If you guys are interested, I'd love to hop on a call, or let me know how we can help or how I can help.
Exactly.
Great
Pitch
way to,
your
like,
ideas.
what's my value?
Don't come to them
add?
empty-handed.
Because like you're not, oftentimes you're not even talking to like the person that makes the decision. You're talking to,
we have to bring them to that person.
Exactly.
Right.
And if you don't have to then upsell, like, oh, so there's this guy, Dan, and he's like,
Do the
he
work
makes cool
for
stuff,
the middleman, such as
Exactly. Yep.
Tiff or the middle
I'm totally
woman.
the middleman. No, seriously though, I
You
am.
should be like, read this message, right? Yeah.
And I think even when we pitched the idea, just being a little transparent here, when we pitched the idea for Workbench Con tickets, I believe your response was, thank you for laying everything out because it helps me greatly.
Because we gave you options. We said, hey, here's our metrics. Here's what we're willing to provide. We'll work with this. We'll do that. And we can give away this. So like I wanted to take especially knowing that you were on the opposite end of that email. made the
appreciate it.
email both harder and easier to write because I was like, I'm talking to a person now. This is not a blanket statement that I have to just toss out there. And I think it's a good way to think about it. Think of like, what if you're on the other side of that, or a friend of yours that maybe works for a marketing company or something, like you have to pitch them the idea, because it humanizes that brand and it makes you like a lot, more, you really try to provide a value. You really try to give them something. And so what I'm trying to get at here, you told me a story a couple of weeks ago when we were talking on our phone about how you reached out to a pretty large brand and how you hit them with something that was like a paradigm shift for them. And they were like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. I'd love for you to talk about that.
What could you be talking about?
I don't know.
No, absolutely. Well, speaking of like Shar and Alma and all of them, they've been friends of Carhartt for years. And it's been really cool seeing how well like Carhartt treats everybody, and they really support the maker world. But one thing I noticed is there wasn't a plus size lady represented. And I was very blunt with my pitch to them that I could bring that audience in, because I don't think a lot of people even knew that Carhartt actually catered to plus size women with their clothing, but they weren't showing it off. Like there's this whole plus size line that nobody even knows about. And I'm like, why not just like have somebody in the community represent that? And when I brought it up to them, they were so receptive about it. Like I really appreciated it, because they were just like, no, you're right. And let's fix this. And I love that you came to us with that. And like, they were so excited. And it's been crazy. Like I started that in July, like becoming a friend of Carhartt, and they put me in a campaign in December where like I'm on the Carhartt page right now. If you go there,
That's awesome.
there's a commercial of me on Facebook that's going around right now. That's, it's like
so cool.
It's so crazy. I'm like, that's nuts.
Remember
like,
us when you get to
there.
Hollywood. But
That's
to
on my goal list, Dan.
So you said you sent them a blunt email. That doesn't mean you were like, hey,
Super
this is
sweet.
what you're doing wrong. Let's fix it. You were kind about it, right?
Listen, turds.
No, exactly. No. And that's the thing is like, whenever I email people, when I find a gap, I don't just say like, hey, you're doing this horribly. I pitch how they could do it better. And I give concrete ideas of how we could do that better,
I love that term, when you see a gap.
Yes.
That you
the can, store?
No. No, but like you see a gap in their market, like, hey, you're not really touching this niche. I represent it. Boom. That's a great message.
Yeah, and it works out so well. Like the Bora miter saw stand that I needed, same thing. Like, where are the women using this? Like, where is this? Like, you just got to find what they're not using, or how can I show this off better? Like my garage, my whole year, like I was saying, is about making my garage better. I had a 7-foot long, ugly MDF miter saw station that I hated. It was so hard to move and that. Like, so that changed my life by having this little compact foldable thing now. I was able to bring some more tools in. Sadly, I had to get rid of some too to make room, but like I've had to rearrange my life. Yeah, exactly. Now I want them back. But it's those things that you find, like, how can I advertise this for you in a different way? Like that's important. How can I help you fill a gap that is needed and reach a market that you aren't reaching? I did the same thing for Sabretooth with their scroll saw kit. I was like, there's so many scroll saw artists that are just using drums, just little sanding drums to do all their shaping, where if they just took one of these burrs and put it on the wood, their lives would change. And that's our most popular selling kit, is the scroll saw kit. We went from having no scroll saw artists who were using Sabretooth to that's one of the main people. It's like chainsaw artists and scroll saw artists, which very diverse group.
So you're talking about like shaping the pieces after they've been cut out.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like CNC people can do it. People who use lasers. Like that's why I was like the target market. And in my commercial that I made for, I'm like, this is great if you do your scroll saw, CNC, laser, any tiny pieces to shape, because that was a whole market that we were missing out on.
Yeah. I feel like I do see a lot more artists actually using like some kind
actual
of
carbide burrs,
tool, like carving away at like a lot of the sign makers that, because you don't think like they scroll saw, but then they round over everything. If you look up close on those things, a lot of work goes into it.
There's so many hours into those things. And I come from a sign making background. Like that's what I started off doing for now 8 years I was selling those, and I was selling all kinds of other stuff before. I was a cake decorator for a while, at home bakery business. Like, I've been through some changes. When I had kids, I stopped doing the bakery.
Though.
I couldn't do cake deadlines with 2 children. It was no.
Did you do wedding cakes by chance?
I did a couple wedding cakes, not too many. It was mostly birthdays, because wedding cakes are too intimidating. I don't want to be responsible for that
Lot
day.
of responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
And crazy brides.
I think you can get away with more on like the 7th birthday party.
Exactly.
Like,
Give me that soccer ball
biggest
cake.
day of our life.
Yeah, exactly.
You want Spider-Man? I got you.
I did get a cool cupcake order where the knife that they were gonna cut it with was a little saw. That was pretty
nice.
awesome.
Oh. That's nice.
But yes, yeah.
Well, we're not that we're running out of time yet, but I kind of want to hear. So last week was our 2023 Wrapped episode, because all the apps were doing the Wrapped, like, oh, you listen to this much of Taylor Swift, So we
did I share my Spotify Wrapped with you?
It's the same thing for everyone. It's 2023. It's the year of Taylor Swift. Let's be real. Come on.
Not this girl, but all right.
Okay. This girl and Dan. So we talked about our goals from from the year before. I actually went back, and I always, every year now, I put down our goals in the show notes. So I can just look it up. That's the following year and be like, oh, so we failed at all these, but I did the one. I did the one. That's cool. So Dan and I both had like a lot of wins, and then a lot of like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. YouTube.
Whoops.
That's right. Crazy. So what was like, I would love to hear like some goals that you had for last year that maybe you didn't achieve, and some that you did achieve. And then what's your big thing for this year?
Well, for sure, it's not getting my product launched, like my whole brand new company. I did buy a banner that's in my garage.
Power of yet.
But
The power of yet.
I did go through the prototyping phase. I did do all the artwork, all the tweaks, all the designs. I've got it just about ready there. So I'm trying to learn to give myself grace, as they all say.
Can you give us a hint on what this new brand company idea is?
I can give you a little hint. Again, the problem is it's so easily, like, you could replicate it, like not to the level I have, because I'm so close to the subject. But so when your kids are autistic, they struggle with transitioning from one activity to the next activity. So this is going to help them with those transitions. I'm also writing a children's book too to go with this. So I'm going to be a published author next year, or this year.
Yeah, baby.
That's
Nice. Your Tiff is killing it.
Yeah, I have a lot of, but see, that's the thing. I have so many freaking ideas. It's so hard. Like, I wish there was another me. Like, I really do.
I'm so super interested in that first idea, because my wife is a teacher, but she's a special ed teacher. So she deals with a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you after. Like, I don't mind being a little bit freer afterwards. Yeah. But like, it's something like I bonded with, like, I've shared a little bit of this with some makers, like Anna of all trades. Like, her and I like almost had a crying session about the topic, because she struggles with that for herself, of just transitioning from things and, keeping her day together. So like, I think it's going to be something that's going to help a lot of people, touch a lot of people's hearts. And I hope a lot of people will be behind it to help me kick it off when it's ready.
Super cool.
Pete, I'll be coming at you too for making it with me.
I got you, girl.
But like, I want to have makers help me make it. Like, that's the original plan. I talked to distributors this year. Like, I've been through the process of trying to get it to market. I just haven't had, number one, the funds, which I mean, I could go to the bank. I do have some money in there, but I pretend I don't.
It's fun when the shop has its own funds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't want to use my personal money that I have for a rainy day, but I might tap into it just to get the trademarking. Because man, just that one thing is just so hard. Like, it's just that barrier of like throwing cash at stuff. But like, I did so much work on this. So that's the thing, like, I thought I'd have by now going. But I feel like it's gonna happen this year. So that's like one of the big goals too. There's a lot of goals. But I don't write any of them down. They're all just in my head, which is probably a bad thing.
It's just goal soup in your head.
It is. I come down here sometimes. I'm like, what should I work on today?
Remember, I got a bit of a potato and some carrots. Is that ham?
Yeah, seriously though. I do have like 10 notepads in front of me. They just have no like concrete plan. That's another thing. I'm gonna make a nice planner for content
all
creating.
over my desk.
Yeah, it's nuts. I'm like, this is my Workbench Con notebook. This is my Sabretooth notebook. This is my Tiff
I
notebook.
have one list and
Yeah.
another list and then some more lists.
I've talked about this before. Totally. I have like the random notes here. Like I'm almost done with this list. So I pulled it out.
I got a whole book of notes.
I'm sure everyone else is like looking at their table right now.
You're like, God damn, she got me.
Yeah, exactly.
Me too.
These are my CNC speed notes. I have these for my laser, like
I have
really
speed
do.
notes on one sheet and then I feed notes on the other.
Keep it separate.
Oh God, I love that.
Yeah.
But is there
yeah.
something that like you're really proud of last year? Like you hit the goal, or it's something that you didn't even
I
like,
made it
expect
through
to
the
hit?
year. Honestly,
Yes.
it was my very
Yes.
first year
Yeah.
from beginning to end being self-employed.
Oh, I love that.
That was
Yes.
That's worth
so
something.
honestly,
That's worth
it is.
something.
No,
I
it
love
is.
it.
Like I made it. Like I'm like, there's those days where you're like, should I just get a job, like a job
No.
back again? And I do. I ponder it. My husband's like, I will not let you. But then he hates his job, so you're like,
Oh,
well, one of us be happy. He's like just. So he's like, but you know what I mean? Like that is what I'm most proud of, as I survived the year. Like seriously,
I understand
Dan understands.
completely.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was scary. Like in June, I quit my job the year before, and I'm like, what did I just do? I worked at this job for 16 years. Like 16 years is a long time to.
You're
Preach.
happier.
Oh, I
with
hated
that.
it.
I-
Yeah,
I know. I remember talking with you about it.
I used to cry every day.
I've been self-employed since 2011, and every year
So awesome.
I celebrate that.
You should,
Because
Dan.
every year that you make it through that is something worth
It's
celebrating.
huge.
I mean, it's huge.
Listen,
You don't have a guaranteed paycheck. You don't know
Nope.
where the next thing is going to come from. You are living week to week, unless you're like some
just find
mega
money in the
millionaire.
world every month.
The
Yeah.
Carhartt campaign, literally, like when they were like, hi, we're going to offer you a paid campaign. I was like, and then they told me, and I was like, oh my God, guys, we're going to be good for December and January.
Yeah.
Like,
You
holy
can eat meat
crap.
this month.
Seriously.
Yes.
So it's like, oh my God, like we're going to be okay for at least another month. And this is a hard month because I'm taking a week-long vacation. Like, and I've been working my ass off pre-planning all of that content these last few weeks. If you've noticed, like Workbench stuff is like so beautifully outlined. I'm just like, and now I'm going to post this one and now this one, because I've been working so hard to make January as smooth as possible, knowing that I'm going to have a week away where I'm not making any money. So it's like,
Also, I
You
mean,
got this.
February is
Thank you.
there's a week and a half at least. I know it's a 3-day event, but like Workbench Con is like a week of you can't focus.
oh yeah,
You know?
and it
At
kicks
Like
least.
up.
prior and after.
Y'all are keeping me busy, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, people are starting to already get that excitement now that I've been like, I started last week with a countdown. I'm like, it's time to do a countdown. So I'm
Yes,
like
I love
9
that.
weeks. And then like I posted that 8 weeks. And usually this stuff doesn't get like that many likes. It's got like 100 and something likes right now. It's got like 30 comments. People are like, let's
Nice.
go. We are 2 months away. I'm like, all right, guys. Like,
Can't believe how quickly it snuck up.
Jeez.
yeah,
Oh, that's scary. It's right around the
it
corner.
is. It's
Also,
totally
what's the
around.
big goal for this year? What's something you want to definitely hit? Or not doesn't have to be a
Well,
big goal. It
the
could be a goal
YouTube
soon.
videos, getting those YouTube videos out, just though, and then I'm actually really pushing hard on YouTube because I also committed to Sabretooth to make 1 video a month for them.
Ooh, so
yes,
you actually have to keep deadlines.
I have to be a YouTube maker this year because I have 3 videos that I've already promised to Sabretooth where I'm going to be teaching people how to do very easy beginner carving projects, like from start to finish.
Oh, good.
And it's all stuff that I've never done, but it's stuff that I see that people are selling like at craft fairs and things that I think that would really sell. Like the first thing is a propagation station. Like, you see people making those all the time and they're
Yes,
really
yes.
pretty if you have like a nice slab of wood and you can do really cool carving on it. So I'm going to start with that and that kind of like ease my way into it. But like I've set aside 10 hours each month to do that.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
that almost seems like it's not going to be enough because
It's a tight deadline.
there's so much work that goes
Yeah.
into YouTube videos. I don't think people realize that
Yeah.
who don't do YouTube.
Mhm.
There's an insane amount of time because the editing itself, I feel like,
It's a
can
lot.
take almost 30, 40 hours a week.
For sure.
adds
And they're
up.
not going to be that technical. Like I'm not going to add little characters popping up and stuff, but I'm going to teach you how to start a project and get it to the end goal
Well,
that is going to hopefully make you money. You know what I mean? So that's
I
the
like it.
goal for Sabretooth.
I like it. That's one of my goals too. So
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pushing myself really hard on YouTube because I want to monetize and I want to make some money here. Like
love
I
it,
can
girl.
see it. I go to Workbench and I see these people who are doing it well, and I'm like, it's time. I'm like,
Right.
I'm way funnier than them. That's
And that's actually I'm
You feel like
funnier
that,
than
Dan?
Brad from Fix This
Yeah.
Build Slabber that.
I can give him some pointers.
That's
Fix this flat and
actually
slab.
that's actually something I wanted to bring up in the Maker News if we ever get to that, because somebody released a video like uh what's the word I'm looking for, where he
Breakdown.
makes a breakdown. I do a
Making
podcast
list,
professionally.
checking it twice.
Yeah, he breaks down his YouTube income, and I think it's a great video, and
I love
it's
when
kind of
people are
motivating
super
to
open about that.
yeah.
I had
Yep.
Joseph Gerber on my podcast recently.
Oh, I follow him. He's great.
Oh yeah, and he broke down everything that he was making, like when reels were popping off like crazy. He
Yeah.
filled in everybody on the income that he was making and why he did certain
He probably
things. It
did
was
pretty
good.
well. He's got a
He
lot of
did
good reels out there.
Yeah.
So good. He
Yeah.
made bank during that time. I mean, obviously it all went away.
Right.
So then he
Yeah.
had to find income other
Crazy
ways.
how fast
Yeah.
that went away.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I talked about that last week about how I used that extra money to bring on an employee, and then they just like pulled the rug out, and I was like, oh God, now I gotta get
Oh,
rid of the
damn,
employee.
that hurts.
Oh, it was painful. It was painful.
Yeah, because that just relieving something off of your back, like that's just huge. So
Yeah.
I would love, like, if I ever was to actually make my own product, I would hire somebody just to do my laser. I don't want to do that. I just want to be painting. I don't want to press
I get
buttons.
that. I mean, it's always nice to have an employee if you could.
Oh God. I mean, I'll never,
had-
not never, but
I had Emma running the laser today while I was like working my
I
day
saw
job.
that. I was like,
oh my God, this is happening. This is good. We're getting there.
Kayla, my wife, my loving wife, I love her so much. She keeps asking me if there's anything she can go in the shop and do, and I'm like, sweetheart, I love you, but no.
let her
You
out.
just-
Damn.
It's a lot of a learning.
I
curve.
love my wife, but
Is she not
she's
into
not
that stuff?
she's not that type of person.
My husband has
don't-
zero interest in any of this stuff. Zero.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling that she's gonna get hurt really bad, and it's just
Oh.
I'm gonna feel awful, and just
So
I
you're
can't
more
deal with
just
that.
scared of
Yeah.
a possible injury. Okay.
When
I mean, for goodness sakes, my brother came over this past
Oh my God, that's
weekend.
right. Look,
My
cut his
brother came
hand
over,
off.
and he's very familiar with power tools and all the tools that I use. He actually has a little shop at his place, and he's got a CNC and all that. But he wanted to come over. He wanted my help with some miter cuts and stuff. And he was sanding, and he had his hand on the sander. So like I have the Mercus, so it's got the paddle switch.
Mhm.
And he had his hand on the paddle switch and didn't realize it. My brother's also hearing impaired. So he didn't hear it running, and he grazed the side of his finger and
Oh,
put a huge gash in his
I've
finger.
done that a couple of times this week.
Yeah, because
it
it was
hurts.
spinning real fast. I could just
I've
see
had
my
those
wife doing
interviews
that.
trying to get those little areas when you're sanding. Seriously.
Yeah.
It'll get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, even an experienced person can do something like that. So I'm afraid to have my wife out there.
You know
I
what's
don't want her
funny
to
is
get hurt.
when me and Emma were having a conversation about her coming on. She's like, I just don't want to like be sanding, and I'm like, I will not make you sand. I'll never make you sand. I will never make you sand. She volunteered, so it's a loophole. Like I'm okay with it, but like she helps out. Like sometimes when we're like we have to pre-sand the sheet before it goes into laser, or like sand some pieces afterwards, or like a tabletop or whatever, and like she's willing to help, and it makes a huge difference. It's not a big thing, but like that's half hour to an hour of a task that I don't have to do.
Pre-sand the sheet before it goes in the laser? Is that a thing?
Yeah, so actually quick little
See, I don't know jack about lasers, and even though I have
even
one.
I know.
sanding
I need tips.
your sheet before you get it in the laser can improve your cut quality.
Well, I'll be damned.
Hmm.
I didn't know that. I learned something today.
Because it breaks the grain.
Mental note.
Apparently because you don't have as much like fuzz that's lifted, you get all that removed, so it's cutting right at the material. It's not getting dispersed by hitting.
Nice.
Oh,
Weird
yeah, that makes
fuzzes
sense.
would-
Okay.
It's not a
okay.
huge difference, but it can mean a difference between like a clean cut and like a lot more of a smoky cut.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus,
have so
also
much to
when it's
learn.
done, you pull it off. As long as you have good air assist, you pull it off. You maybe do a gentle sand on the back to remove the fog marks, and you're done.
Huh.
Saves you time.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Time
you
is
can make
money.
my product.
Mental note.
Got you. All right. Well, we're kind of running out of time because
Did you want to ask me workbench questions before we go? Or
I feel like we got into the workbench. So let's have a quick Workbench Con segment.
if you want, you don't have to.
Let's finish with that. But
Okay.
I want to ask the
We
question.
can get
that
to all
Tamar
our
wrote
other
in.
things next week.
Well, no, Tomas has a question
We have
for.
a question. Yes.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, we don't need. Nobody cares about what's on my bench or
Nobody cares. Everybody knows what's on my bench.
So Tomas, our favorite Frenchman, called in with a question for Tiff. He says, "Hey guys, I couldn't record a voicemail, but I still have a question for Tiff. Please, Pete, can you use your best French accent? Of course. Tiff and you guys, carving wood makes a lot of dust. What are your 3 best tips to deal with dust and to keep it from going everywhere in your shop? Thanks. Bye." Da-na, da-na, da-na,
I love it.
to do the pauses for when I hear it because I used to do the same thing when
You should
I
be
moved to
like,
the States.
how
I would
you
translate
say-
words in my head as I was speaking. Tomas, I love you so much.
You
Thank
did a
you
good
for
job.
writing
You
in.
did a good job.
I mean, it's an important question, and I gotta say, like,
I mean, you deal with like shavings, not just like dust.
well, no, it's dust. It's all
Oh.
powder. And it goes everywhere.
Oh, you
so,
don't get
like,
as many like flakes when you're
Everywhere.
carving?
no,
Oh.
only that's like on a CNC you do. You get actual, like, they say if you see chips flying, that's a better sign than just dust. But with power carving, it is powder and it goes everywhere. So the only thing I have for dust collection, and it's made a huge difference. Oh, again, one of the brands I worked with this year, I did a
Oneida?
infomercial for them. Oneida, yeah. I use their benchtop dust collector, and that pulls away all of the really fine, super dangerous dust that you could inhale and stuff. And it lets all the other dust kind of just drop down in front of you, which is really cool. But if I'm using like a die grinder or an angle grinder, it kicks off a ton of dust. So it will catch a good portion of it, but the rest is going to go where it goes. Cause so my biggest tip is to carve outside when you can. Number
Right.
one, I know it's logical.
Tough to do in the winter.
Super tough.
Yeah.
And I can't. I'm carving so bad. Like I have like a little space heater on the ground. I'm gonna blow up one day. Like I need a Mr. Cool. That's one of the goals.
But even that, you gotta like really
you gotta
watch
build
the
a filter
filters.
box
Yeah,
around
people
it.
talk
It's
about that
annoying.
a lot.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, the J Bates filter box.
Yeah.
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 Or something similar.
I just check mine every 2 weeks because I haven't had the
Out
time
of
to build it.
paranoia. Yeah.
So just like I
Oh.
check it, it's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay, good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, carving outside if you can. If not, getting like that benchtop dust collector is definitely going to help you. Mullet just came out with an arm that you can extend
Yeah,
over yourself.
right.
So, I mean, I'd feel horrible. Like I worked with Oneida. Like I would love to have the mullet arm and the Oneida going all at once, but then I have to have the shop vac going. Like that's so loud and annoying. I don't have a
Shop
fancy
vacs are
shop
so
vac.
loud.
Yeah,
So-
it's the worst.
Another,
to-
I don't power
Go ahead.
carve. I don't power carve, but I think a very good thing to have in your shop if you're power carving with all the doors closed and stuff because of the winter
I am.
is one of those giant air filters to put in your shop. Like Pete and I have the
Yeah,
Laguna.
I need to get one.
What is that thing called? The Laguna.
It's a air cleaner.
Whatever. Air cleaner.
Air cleaner.
It's an air cleaner.
Rubber, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy one
Those
or you
work
can
great.
make it out of a box fan. I mean, those
If I
work
ever
really
like
well.
I'm grinding something or I'm sanding a lot and I'm not using dust collection for whatever reason, if I see a fog in the air, I turn that thing on in 10 minutes, no fog, completely
Yeah,
cleaned out.
that's
So it
cool.
definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, I
So
need to
I
get
have-
something like that.
I have 2 questions.
We
for
just
you
got
for,
another
like,
question come in the email.
what? Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
It's from Kimani.
Kimani, it's voicemail. We'll make it quick. But the do you ever use any kind of like shield to try to catch the
No,
dust, like a
so-
spray shelter?
That's
thing?
I would say that's be my other recommendation. I'm gonna do it. I'm probably gonna do like a figure 8. So put like curtains around my CNC
Mm.
to keep it from getting dust on it because I get dust all over my CNC. I've actually had to get like a new controller box because too much dust has gotten into
Oh,
my
really?
CNC. Yeah, I've had to be like, Sarah, hey, Onefinity, hi.
I've had to replace one of
want-
mine, and they
I
were
have
they
one
were
of those,
kind
like-
enough to send me a new one.
I have
They-
one of those
they
like
did. They
beach
sent me a new one.
shelters. That's like a tent without one side. I
Okay,
literally never use it. I got it from Subaru. If you want it for carving to carve into,
I'll have
got
to,
you,
you have to
girl.
send me a photo. Yeah.
yeah, I'll
Um,
send it to you.
And then Cecilia from the shop wood design, she literally surrounds herself with like a shower curtain that she has attached to the ceiling. So that way it all just falls down. So
Oh, okay.
she protects her whole shop from getting dirty. Just
A
carves
murder
and fit
room.
it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No, she calls it her kill room, her Dexter kill room.
Very nice.
And
Love
like Mary Lou just recently put one around her CNC, and I'm like, oh, I'm like so inspired to it. Like put some tracks up on the ceiling and
For my
do that.
CNCs, after I ruined the one controller, I mounted my controller boxes up underneath the bench. So
That's smart.
Yeah.
The
Mine's on the
problem is you
side.
don't have the O button on top.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's the only, you have to like kick it with your foot or something or disconnect the power. But that's the only downside. Otherwise, I would have like tucked it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things you learn after you have a CNC for a while.
So that was one thing. And then the other thing, do you think people can get away with like the box fan with the square filter on it? Do you think that'll do enough?
If it's
something's better than
powerful
nothing,
enough,
right?
I do agree with something's better than nothing. Honestly, I used to do the vacuum hose taped to the thing or clamped to the desk, and that's how I would carve. And like that is so like it helps, but it's not enough because it's always on that small little angle that you got to carve towards it.
And we're back. Tiff just had a weird hiccup with the audio, but yeah, anything is
with
better
the power
than
of editing,
power
nobody will know.
No,
Might not even
anything is
edit
better
that
than
out.
nothing.
30
Yeah,
seconds.
exactly.
But yeah, any a little bit helps. And by the way, we can just run right up until the pre-show or post-show. We'll just go right into it after this. But we actually have a question from Kimani, and I think you know what, because we're gonna have a live audience. Why don't we talk about Workbench Con in the pre-show or post-show?
Sure.
Changing the name, and then that way everyone gets like a nice one-on-one with you, and they can ask you questions about it.
I'm
like
totally
that.
cool with that.
Yeah. So let me pull up this question from Kimani von Strayhorn. I think I'm saying that right.
Hey everybody, it's Kimani. Hey Tiff, how you doing? I got 2 questions for you. First question, you carve a lot of awesome things. So first question is, what's the largest thing you've currently carved, or what's the largest thing you like want to carve? And question 2 is, I know part of the reason for you getting a laser was a special project for your kids or like, learning and development and stuff like that. How's that project going? Thanks. Bye.
Aw,
It's like
I
he
love
knew
that
what we were
remembered
talking about.
that.
I mean,
I
great
know,
question,
he's
but
psychic.
you actually answered both of them, which is amazing.
Yes.
So, Kimani, thank
Kimani,
you for
please
writing
see the
that in.
previous parts of the podcast.
Just listen back in case you skipped the part that matched your audio.
But yes, Tiffany, the 3-foot tall Bride of Chucky is the tallest, biggest thing that I've carved.
And project is in progress.
It's in progress.
In progress.
It's getting there.
I love it. So,
It's about
okay,
to be
so we got a couple
trademarked.
minutes. We'll just go right into the pre-show afterwards. We got a few minutes left. So let's ask you some stuff about Workbench Con real quick.
Sure.
First of all, who was Workbench Con for?
It's
Ooh, very good
honestly
question.
for the person who who wants to grow their business. So somebody who has entered this field, they've been dipping into content creation for a while, and they really want to go to that next level. Like I truly do believe that that's the core audience. It's not for the ones that have been established and have been there. Those are the ones that are there to teach you. Like they're going to be there sharing how they got to where they are. Workbench Con is built to bring in that fresh talent and help guide them to be where they need to be. Or if you've already been doing this for a long time and you're finding that you're getting no traction and you need help, it's for you too. Like I feel like everybody can benefit. We're really trying to bring in some higher level classes too for those seasoned people. Like those are the harder audience to please, right? Because they're like, well, I don't need the classes anymore. I've been here already. We're really trying to put the ones that we think they would really enjoy in there and actually benefit from. So we're trying to have like tiered levels of education, but definitely the core audience is the ones that are really trying to bring their level to that next, business to that next level.
I love that. I think, and you're right. I think what you guys are trying to focus on, that next tier to jump you up to the next level.
We're trying.
That's
it's hard.
It's not because like, yes, you can benefit a lot from it if you're new to the space or you're trying to grow in a space, but there's nothing more dangerous. And I've talked about this so much of like the trap of like your max, where you have the illusion of I am at my max. I cannot take on any more work. I can't scale to the next level. And it's the quote I keep bringing up like the last couple months. It's we're afraid of the work that the next level of our success is going to bring on. And that's the people that can really, really see the growth go into this event, I think, because you're going from like 0 to 50. Awesome. Great growth. You're excited. You're going to be overworked.
Yeah.
you're gonna put in a lot of hours, and you're gonna be very tired, and you're gonna feel like at some point you're no longer growing. The classes that really blow your mind and the conversations that blow your mind, I feel like take you to the next level. You go like, oh, I should just stop doing this thing that doesn't make me money and doesn't make me happy. Let me focus on this thing that's going to grow me to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
I think
You
that's
find
where,
avenues that you never knew existed.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
That's what I think is the most exciting part. It's like, oh, I could make money that way, or I could do it this way, or
Feet? Who'd have thought?
yeah, I know. It's like the biggest topic for all of us who are like, should I get a job or should I just sell photos of my feet? I don't know. It's tough.
I think
Every year when I leave Workbench Con, that's kind of what I look back on. Like, oh, not the feet pics, but
a job, a regular job is the biggest motivator to just keep going, because you're like, well, I can get a job any day. I'll bag groceries or ShopRite. I don't care.
The avenues to make other streams of income.
Yes,
exactly.
No, it's true. Before I went to Workbench, and I went to the first year, all of the classes, and my mind was blown. I'm like, okay, I had all these notes. I talked to so many people out in like networking and just like brainstorming. Was when I went there, I didn't have any social media jobs. I was no one's social media director. And I left there determined that I was going to pitch not only Workbench Con, but also Sabretooth, that they needed somebody too. Cause I had heard that the person had stopped posting like 3 months ago, and I knew there was a gap there. And I'm like, I'm like, I really need to reach out to Sabretooth. I gotta push for it. I think it'd be great. I think we'd be a really cool pair. And like talking to people gave me the motivation to do that, So I didn't go there thinking I'd be, leaving with 2 jobs, but I ended up doing that, but it took a while. Like I had to keep pushing both Workbench and Sabretooth.
It's like you have one job, it's you being a creative, but then you have all these gigs.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
and I was telling somebody that I almost gave away one of the people I was trying to pitch. I was telling blah, blah, blah that earlier. But I like being a contract employee. Like I'm not officially tied to anything. I'm a contract employee at Workbench. I'm a contract employee at Sabretooth. Each month I have a brand new contract, and I get to pitch new things that we're going to try at Sabretooth. Like it's ever changing, but it's also scary because like my pay can fluctuate. Like Dan was saying, I don't know what my pay is going to be like for this month or the next month.
Exactly.
Only some things are certain. I know I'm going to get paid from Workbench, but I don't know what's going to happen at Sabretooth each month. So
I love the fact that your first Workbench Con experience was, so most people go to Workbench Con and they're thinking about ways to pitch to the brands that are there. And you were like, nah, I'm going to pitch to the
I want Big Daddy
conference.
Workbench Con. Let's go.
That is thinking outside of the box, though. I love it.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I mean, you just, like I said, you see those places that you think you could fulfill. Like I have at my old job, it was a big corporate job. I ran a committee called the Celebrate Us Committee, where I would throw functions for 300 people every month, like fundraisers, parties, this, that. So I'm like, oh, I've done that before. That was fun. I enjoyed that part of life. I'm like, let's try it at a bigger scale with the maker community, which I already love. I know who's good at this. I know who's good at that. I can get the right people into the positions that are going to help build this community and not keep it. Because like you guys know, it's intimidating to go into a room and it's only the big top dogs that you've been seeing for years.
Right.
And there's no one that you feel like you're an equal to. And I really stressed hard like last year about bringing in all kinds of different talents, people that people don't know, that I thought were going to hit the right mark for those classes. So like this year is just the same thing, is trying to bring all different levels of people, all different kinds of brand representatives, and try to nourish each person. I think one of the most important classes for me is the product development classes. Like I'm trying to launch a new product. There's going to be a class about that. I'm going to go to that class. Like it's silly not to. So I know we're running out of time. My biggest tip for people is to look at the schedule and pre-plan what classes that are going to be important. Now the schedule's not out yet. And I know I say that, look at the schedule, but it'll be out soon. We've just had a couple of brands come in that might take some class spaces, and we might have to shift everything around. So we're trying to
actually teach classes.
Yeah, we've got some brands coming and teaching classes.
That's different.
I like that.
Like Total Boat always does it. We had Oneida do a dust collection talk last year. This year, Total Boat's going to have
Well,
2 different classes, which is going to be really
Total
fun.
Boat usually just does like live
We do a lot of
demonstrations, but
demos
them
too.
Yeah, we're
teaching
changing it up
classes,
this year.
I like
and
it.
Yeah, we're giving Jimmy a really cool nook for him
Oh,
to like
God.
experiment all
With
day.
all the
Is
with
he,
all the
he's not going to
rats and
teach us how
things.
to
He might-
epoxy a dead rat or anything
You
like
know,
that.
I'm such a jerk, guys. There's not one photo, and there will never be any photos or videos of that project on Workbench
Oh my
Con
goodness.
because I just avoided it. I walked by and I'm like, not gonna film that dead rat, and I'm like, keep moving.
Panning up a
Yeah,
total
I
boat
did
sign,
seriously.
panning
It's
down.
like exactly. I'm like,
If
sorry,
you don't know
Jimmy.
what we're talking about,
Yeah, exactly.
hunt
If you
it down
weren't
You have to
there,
go to
somewhere.
Workbench Con.
yeah. If you want to see the dead rat that's been cast in some epoxy, you can probably find it on Total Boat's page. But yeah, I was like, seriously, I did like pan up.
I
Yeah,
love that you actively avoided it.
I did.
That's
But we
hilarious.
actually
Brilliant.
are going to give him a corner, and we were actually pondering calling it like the rat's nest or something.
It's like there's gonna be a carny up front, like collecting
Yeah.
the ticket. You go through the curtain and
I
go,
love it.
oh, it's
Yeah.
just Jimmy. Okay.
No, there should be some cool things for sure that are going to be happening that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. So I'm excited
All
for
right.
that.
Very cool. Very
With
cool.
that, we're
Can't
gonna
wait.
wrap it and
Yes.
just dump ourselves right into the pre-show because of course we're gonna be chatting the whole night. Guys, thank you for joining us. This is gonna be a great episode, and also gonna be a great pre-show or post-show. So if you want to see what else Tiff says about Workbench Con, make sure to check out youtube.com. Next Wednesday is gonna be available to everyone. By this Sunday, it'll be live to all of our patrons. You'll be able to watch the YouTube video, and it's gonna be a great pre/post show. So, and if
Absolutely,
you're
we're
a
all
patron,
warmed
you
up.
can also get the pre-show as an audio podcast dropped to your podcast hole. What's up,
Right.
Dan? Oh, sorry, you're
Yeah,
pointing
I
at
was
me.
like,
Got
good
distracted.
job.
Your podcast hole, yeah. So, anyways, thank you for joining us. We love you all. See y'all next week. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.
Love you long time.